Did I start the broadcast? Let me see. Did I? Yes. Okay. So during this meeting, please feel free to share whatever you want to share. Ask whatever question you are drawn to ask. Although at the mind level there may be thoughts, sensations in the body, feelings, that keep changing and shifting from moment to moment. We also have an inner intuition of something that is not moving. We have an inner intuition of the peace. That is not the result of any activity or the result of any experience. The causeless peace. We know it deep down in our heart. But at the mind level, it's a different situation. It seems that from the habitual perspective of thinking about ourselves, thinking about our situation, thinking about the world, from that perspective, it seems that there are a lot of problems, a lot of challenges and difficulties. And for most of us, it seems that that's the bulk of our experience. The concerns, the regrets, the hopes. And yes, there is no denying this dimension. Of personal concerns. And it seems that from that perspective that there is really very little hope. Sometimes things get better and then around the corner it takes a different turn. And so we try different strategies. And some of them flop right away, some others also give us some temporary relief. And soon after that, there are some other issues. Things keep shifting at that level. But somehow we keep probing. Looking for the way. Because we have an inner intuition of peace and freedom, truth and love, beauty. And at some point we realize that there is something off with the model that we are adopting, that we have the perspective from which we are looking. So we start to examine, we start to contemplate our beliefs. the point of view from which you are looking. And we may notice that this point of view, although it keeps shifting in a way, that behind our point of view, behind our perception, there is a very firm belief that everything that is happening is personal to me. So there is an assumption of a personal self, a separate entity that is a subject of all the events that are unfolding. And we may come to realize that there is great preoccupation about the well-being, the welfare of this personal self. And that most of our thoughts and activities, most of our behaviors and decisions in our life pertain to the maintenance and the preservation and the safety and the welfare of this personal self, this person that somehow I have agreed and accepted that I am. Somehow I have adopted the belief that I refers to this person, to this man, to this woman, to this entity, whatever gender we are. And that is what I truly am, that I am, that I is this mortal, shifting, changing. What? 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 What is it? And when I start contemplating, what is it that I am assuming myself to be? When I really look closely, I find a vast field of thoughts and feelings and sensations and memories and beliefs and vibrations within the body-mind. That somehow cumulatively or in a diffuse way I have defined myself to be. A bundle of thoughts and memories and sensations and feelings. And it's quite exhausting. And every day I look forward to deep sleep, because in deep sleep there is an actual pause to all these images and thoughts and sensations and beliefs. As good a pause as possible in deep sleep. We all look forward to deep sleep. If you look closely at your experience right now, in this very moment, you will find that primarily it is presence, pure presence. Awareness, beingness, whatever the word is. Before any thought gets downloaded, before any story gets downloaded, before any memory gets downloaded, before yesterday and tomorrow get downloaded. It's presence. When you look closely at your experience, you will not find time. You will find awareness. When you look via the prism of thought, you will find time and space, which is okay. That's what thought and perceptions refer to. Thought refers to time, perceptions refer to space. But the directness of your experience, this very moment, which requires no thought, direct a perception into your direct experience right now. There is no gender, there is no age, there is no name, there is no time, there is no space. It's just awareness, pure awareness. One could say awareness taking on the form of this perception. But it is awareness. That is your direct experience. In your contemplation, you need to arrive to clarity about your direct experience. Even though it may not be fully established in your experience, it is important to come to clarity that your experience moment by moment is pure awareness. And this awareness has no specific location. Nobody can own it. Nobody can say it is my awareness, not your awareness. You could say this is my car and not your car, but you cannot say that about awareness. Because awareness is not a phenomenal manifestation. It is not in the realm of forms. It is not a perception. It is not something like your car, your house, and your beautiful shoes. You may be mistaken about the color of your shoes. You may think they are red or purple because there may be possibly something off with the visual cortex. But you cannot be off about awareness. Awareness is undeniable. Undeniable. I don't want to do speech about non-duality. It's good enough. If you have any questions, anything you want to discuss or explore, let's do that. So, any questions?
Hi, Magdi.
Hello, Zoe.
Hi. I was re-listening
So,
to your
wait,
satsang.
one moment, Zoe. Sorry to interrupt you.
Sure.
Yeah, I am going to take your question, but just for the rest of the folks online, I am going to, after I answer Zoe's question, take questions from people who are attending here, and later on I will take questions from people online. Yes? Okay. Okay, Zoe.
Oh, thank you. I totally
Okay.
forgot that you were
Oh,
online.
yeah,
Go
yeah. No,
ahead. I
it's okay,
can
Zoe,
wait.
please. Huh?
Okay.
Oh, yes. There is you have a lot of support here, especially Richard is.
Oh my goodness. Well, my internet connection is bad today, so I hope you can hear me. Okay. Okay. So, one question I had listening last time, you talked about picking up people's energies, but ultimately, everything is an inner experience. So, really, how can I pick up anything?
Yes. Okay, I understand the question.
Thank
The
you.
question is, given
So,
that consciousness is seamless, what is this comment that you can pick up other people's energies? You see, when you are driving your car, the windshield, you see through the windshield all the scene. You see the road and you see the scene around you. But when the windshield is foggy, is fogged because of whatever the moisture, whatever it is. Although the glass is transparent, although the windshield is transparent, you may not be able to see clearly, right? So similarly, although consciousness is seamless and it's transparent, borderless, when there is fog, you cannot, you do not experience that seamlessness. And the fog is mainly the personal preoccupation, meaning the thoughts that have an I, the I thought, the personal thoughts and the feelings that are referred to as to the person. That creates a fog. The personal concerns about my future, about my things, about my relationship, about my life, about my promotion, etc. creates a fog. And so you may be in conversation with people and you may only hear half or a third of what they say, or you may not sense really where they're at, or the unspoken, you may not even sense any of that. Or even the spoken, you may not fully be available as a listening space, which the borderless quality of listening, of being, of presence. So there is that fog, and when, via your contemplation of what am I truly, the veils of separation start to thin out. The personal aspect of your thoughts starts to become more and more transparent. You will find that there is this transparency. You will find that there may be some feelings or some sensations that will arise in your space, in these spaces, only one space, let's say your space, in this space, in awareness. And while in the past you used to attribute them to, oh, they're my personal stuff, in time you will come to realize that in fact it's just a cosmic, it's a universal field that is expressing itself this way. You follow?
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. And so then it's again just not touching it, like not going out into the weather of it, just seeing that it's there.
Yes, in fact, everything that appears to you appears impersonally. And even the idea that it is personal, even that thought and that feeling that, oh my God, it's happening to me, I need to do something about it, even that is impersonal. Because in fact, there is no personal doer. When you look for the personal doer, all you will find are thoughts and sensations. There will be the thought of a personal doer, and the thought that there is a personal doer is an appearance. It appears to you. And whatever appears to you that says, for example, oh, hey, this is it. You are the personal, this is happening to you. Whatever appears to you does not know anything about you. Whatever appears to you is known by you, but does not know you. Given that whatever appears to you does not know you, the thoughts that appear to you that tell you this is something that's going to hurt you, or this is something that you as a person are doing, cannot be trusted once you understand that the thought is not knowing, rather the thought is known. If you can please mute your mics. Somebody's mic is humming. Thank you. Yes, that was great. You follow, Zoe? So in terms of not touching, yes, as a sadhana, to simply meet whatever is arising as presence from the perspective of presence that is not coming or going, that does not pursue, nor does it resist anything. That is a good sadhana along the path. But also, you need to also contemplate that in fact, there is no personal doer. There is no person that can resist or pursue, that it is all mentation, all downloads, that it's empty, that seeking and avoiding in its very nature is old contractional patterns in the body, the contractions in the body, tendencies in the body. So you could remain without touching what arises, and also scanning within your body, within your somatic realm, what dimensions in your body, what aspects in your body are contracted, are holding, or are not transparent. That's a more powerful way of meeting whatever is occurring in your life, by scanning the contractions within your body. The personal self impression is just a bundle of contractions, much more than thoughts and feelings, thoughts and beliefs. They're feelings and sensations in the body. So it's a moment by moment sort of sensing, scanning and sensing and noticing within your body the inner resistances, the old habits of contracting. And yes, they're connected to thoughts. But thoughts are changing much more rapidly than the contractions within the body. Okay, Zoe?
Yes, thank you, Magdi. I think probably a follow up to that is that only the imagined person could pick up somebody else's energies, because then that's imagining that there's somebody else also. Does that question make sense to you?
No, because it's like talking about Santa Claus. Only Santa Claus can make a pit stop along the way when he's distributing the gifts. He can make a pit stop. No, there's no Santa Claus. So it is all consciousness. When we speak of the separate self, we're not speaking about any real entity. We're speaking about the belief that consciousness is separate and personal. We're not actually talking about consciousness being actually separate and personal. So, in terms of
And yeah,
in terms of picking up the energy in the space, at the body mind level, there are certain modalities that operate at the body mind level. For example, there could be a fire next door, and you may feel the heat and of course perceive the fire from a distance. This is an arising that's happening in the space. What the body instrument is wired in a way to, via the senses, to perceive and sense, to be a conduit of perception and sensation. But what is it that perceives and senses? Is it the body or is it I? So similarly, let's say you're with a group of friends and one of them has experienced a recent loss and is feeling a lot of sorrow and sadness, and you may pick that up. You may pick up some of this in the space. Via, of course, there is the sexual field, there is being, the body language and all of that. But the question is it the body that is perceiving that? Or is it I consciousness? So, yes.
Well, yeah, that clarifies it. Thank you. And yeah, I guess the wording I was getting stuck on. Yeah, thank you. That clarified it.
Okay. Okay, any questions here? Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm.
What is the most expedient way to connect with causeless?
Yes. What is the most expedient way of living, experiencing, and being that causeless peace? There's the parable of the king's son who left the castle and went out in the town, and somehow he forgot that he is the king's and queen's son, and he left without anything, and then he was in the village trying to find some work and trying to make a living and having a lot of hard time. And so at some point he met somebody, somehow convincingly reminded him that who he is. And immediately a lot of his concerns dropped, although he was still in the village and now he had to travel, make his way to the castle and knock on the door. But he knew he was not the pauper that he thought he was in the parable. And he still had a journey to undertake to get to the castle, knock on the door, and then, of course, when he knocked on the door opened, and he was received with great relief because his father and mother were worried about him. Where is he? So there is a recollection. And there are many friends along the way that will, according to the parable, using the parable, that remind you of what you truly are, who you truly are. And at some point, you get it, you see, but it's still to. So in this moment, your experience is always this moment. And that's not to deny thoughts and memories, of course. But still, if the thoughts about something that happened 2 weeks ago still arises to you in this moment, it's always this fresh moment. And because this moment is completely fresh, it's utterly fresh, it cannot be tainted or touched by anything. It's complete freshness. See? A lot of our sorrows are somehow via a certain quirk in the mind. It's as if we're living in the past and the future. In fact, that's not true. It's not possible. But it's as if we're driving, but the windshield is all foggy, and so we're perceiving within a certain bubble, all our internal concerns and our internal troubles. But it's possible in this very moment to see for oneself that in this moment there is complete freshness, complete transparency. And that which right now perceives as perception is genderless, borderless, formless. We say presence or awareness, or it doesn't matter the word. That, in fact, the I perceives for perception, but it's not perceived as a male, female, tall, short, blah blah. And that's actually your experience. You see. It's not some new belief to adopt, because no matter how big a belief you adopt, it won't do the job, because it's not your direct experience. But your direct experience, and then you have to see that for yourself, you see, precedes your name, your age, your parents, your mother, your friends, your work, your home. Precedes that. It's always that. It is always so. And that is not to deny the images arise on the screen. Those images, for example, of this room arises on the screen, or the image if you're at home or in the office, wherever you are, different images arise on the screen. But the screen is not the office, or is not this room, or is not, the screen has no, it's transparent. And although the office may be a mess and we need to try to get some work going and reorganize it and bring more of a peace in the office, and more of an order, a certain order in the office, there is nothing that needs to be done through the screen to bring a better order to the screen, you see. You may need to do something about your car, put more in the tire, or check the carburetor, or whatever. So there may be some activities that you need to do that pertain to the world, to the body. But there are no activities, nothing whatsoever that is needed to improve presence, to improve the screen of awareness. And when we say the screen of awareness, okay, they're like fancy words. In fact, they refer to the reality that perceives. Right now, not some theory. about perception, the direct perception of now. And the reality that perceives right now cannot be denied. You cannot deny I perceive. Whatever I is. Before we add any adjectives or any descriptives to I, there is no denying, we say I, the I that perceives. So this awareness that is also, is its undeniable presence, and it perceives, it knows, for example, that I perceive this perception. And it also knows that I'm aware. Not I, the body, or I, the person, or I, but, and not descriptive, just I am aware. So that by looking at that, you come to sort of closer, let's say, to knowing yourself as this transparent, knowing, present awareness. I know they're fancy words, but we have to use words. But it's pointing, these words are pointing to actual experience that is beyond words. And the more we, let's say, we return to recognizing ourselves as this formless, undeniable presence awareness, which we refer to as I. The more the truth blooms in us, because it's not a belief. It's actually we're noticing something true about what I actually is, what I actually am. And of course, then there is the body, mind, the friends, the work, blah, blah, blah. That is images on the screen, because those images on the screen, they keep changing. Like, for example, right now, your car isn't here, or your friends aren't here, or your home isn't here, or your work isn't, etc. It changed. These images on the screen change, which is fine. But the screen, which means presence, aware presence, transparent or effortless. You know, we don't fabricate it. We don't say every moment, oh, I want to be this aware presence now. We don't do that. It just is. We just notice it. Ah, yes, I get it. I get it. You know, yes. That, it always is. Whenever you turn your attention to it, you will find it. But whenever you turn your attention to your car, you will not find it. For example, right now you will not find your car. You have to go to the parking lot to find it, you see. So the world, body, mind appears as various images. They keep changing. It's fine. And the thoughts of I, the thoughts that I am, you know, we have so many thoughts about what I am, you know. They also change. Like the thoughts of what you are when this body mind was 10-year-old, and when this body mind was 15, etc. It changed. Or even today, depending on what was your experiences during the day, there were many thoughts about I'm good at this or not, I'm bad at that. That refers to qualities of the body-mind. They do not refer to only I that is the reality of being, the real self. So in terms of your question, to care and cater to this young understanding, this initial understanding, like when you have a plant that is just sprouting and this sprout is coming out from the seed. It hasn't yet, needs a special care, sun and food, and so to grow more sturdy in its roots and in its so to recognize, first of all, what is it that you really value? What is it that you really care? What is it that you really love? Because we're speaking about truth. And truth, you cannot speak it with a forked tongue. There's only one tongue that only truth can speak to. There's only one truth, not a multitude of truth. There are a multitude of opinions, of beliefs, of feelings, okay. But it's one truth, you see. So it's important to be clear about what is it that your passion is. That if your passion is truth, like there are some people who have a passion for traveling to some distant lands, and they have that passion in them. And they do a lot of different things to get there. Maybe a lot of obstacles to surmount, but it doesn't matter for them because that's their passion. They may even be crossing some bridges that are, they would never dare to cross them in some places where they're very flimsy, but that's how it is. They will take the risk to do that, you see. So no matter what it takes, you see, that's whatever it takes to be clear about what is it that really, really matters to you. Of course, for the body, it's all clear, you know, the body needs food, shelter, clothing, blah, blah, you know. But if you function in this world, it's just to take care of the world, body, mind. You are not using the full potential of this the way awareness is manifesting. There is a journey that is about awakening, about truth. And this journey is available to us in this lifetime, you see. And also this lifetime is not forever. So it's not a very good idea, once it's clear to you what matters, to procrastinate about what really matters, you see. To say, okay, later, but well, once I do this, once I fix that. Because everything that you say, okay, well, let me just take care of that first. And you think you get it done in a month or two, you find out 10 years later, you're not done yet. That's how it is. It gets more and more complicated in the world. And you will find in your journey all the help that you need. You will find friends along the way. Experiences will arise for you to push your buttons in certain ways, to hold your attention to places where you don't want to look, but that they need to surface, you see. And also you are here in this meeting, which is and also to live our understanding. It's not sufficient to live your understanding. See? And we may start from our journey that we're trying to improve and awaken for ourselves. And it's very strange how it works. At some point, it becomes less and less personal. The journey just keeps broadening and widening. Finally, I just want to tell you the causeless peace that you seek is what you truly are. So we're seeking what we are, which is okay. It's got to be. Sometimes there's the argument that, oh, well, why are we seeking what we are since we are it already? That doesn't go deep enough. We really have to pierce through the illusion. Although the I is the self, there is still the illusion of personhood. There are still the veils of ignorance, the veils of personal identification that we have to see through them. We've got to contemplate and explore and investigate. What am I truly? Am I that which appears? Because the body mind appears to you. Thoughts appear to you. Sensations appear to you. Images appear to you. Feelings appear to you. Are you that which appears? Are you defined by that which appears, or are you defined by that to which appearances appear? And in time you'll come to realize that everything that appears to you is in fact arising out of you as you. But it starts to shift from being an unhappy appearance, personal concerns, to being very joyful appearances like this appearance here right now, which is very beautiful.
So
John.
a thought came up and said, well, let's get serious now. And ask a serious question. Then another thought comes up. That's why when I get serious. But anyway, if I'm happy. But
Seriously happy. Okay. Be seriously happy.
But anyway, actually, the reason why I'm asking, because something still playing in my head, even though I had kind of an answer a little bit. I was talking out there out with somebody, and he likes to talk about it and stuff, but then he asks questions sometimes. I'm not somebody that can answer all these questions, but I just answer some of my own spiritual questions. So he asked me the question. He goes, well, this happiness, this peace, this this peace, this calmness. He calls it passiveness. Or conflict. He says, so if that's there, he says, then then would death be the happiest place to be? And it did throw me off a little bit, and I thought, yeah. but at the same time, I also thought it's like going into presence. For me, I just thought, well, why go there? Thought goes there. Why not going there? But it was a legitimate question, because it's then saying that seems like it's saying that we do have the flow of the illusion and the personal pain and pleasure, and yet there's the causeless happiness. So,
if death of the body was the happiness, in other words, that's the highest happiness, we've been around long enough. We would have discovered that by now, and we would all be practicing killing the body. I would say that after a few thousand years, we would have come upon that understanding. Now, in fact, if you look at the death of the body would refer to the instrument, not just dimming it, but turning the switch off on the instrument.
Yeah.
Now, every night we do dim the instrument in deep sleep, or even in the dream state. We dim the instrument. The body now becomes a butterfly, or who knows what it becomes. The mind becomes the dream mind. Yes, your house dissolves. Your pink shoes, they're gone. Right? Yeah. And even in deep sleep, it dims even more, right? Now, happiness, we experience the peace in deep sleep. So we could say that, yes, that deep sleep must therefore be the happiness. And if we kill the body, that's big time deep sleep, for example. We don't know, but we could say, well, let's assume that killing the body would be 100% deep sleep. And since we know happiness in deep sleep, therefore, we will know happiness forever, right? Killing the body. Now, a couple of things. This argument would imply that happiness can be caused by killing the body. So therefore, it is not a causeless happiness. Right? Secondly, what's arising is, what is killing the body? Interesting question. What would be killing the body? The body is an instrument. Something must be killing this body. What is it that would kill this body? And if something kills the body, then that something remains. Just logically, I'm just thinking out loud. You know, my brain, like your brain, is a common brain. It's a cosmic brain. Interesting. Something is going to kill the body. Something is going to remain. I hope that's happiness. In fact, that's interesting, because if the body is killed and what remains is happiness, then the killer of the body is what remains, because that which is killed goes kaput, that which killed remains. So therefore, that which remains is happiness. That which kills the body is that which remains, and that is happiness. So we can ask ourselves then the following question: wait a minute. Yes, I'm good with that. I follow this argument. Let me look at right now, this very moment, because I'm going to kill the body after satsang, but right now I'm in satsang. So right now, what is it that perceives the body? There is the body, something perceives the body. You can perceive your hand, you can perceive the sensation of your feet on the ground, right? So there is the sensation, there is the body, a sensation. Yes? There is the instrument, yes? But there is also something that perceives this instrument. So if that something that perceives the instrument, which is not the instrument, it must be that same something that's going to kill the body later on, but it's not the body, it's not the, is happiness. Therefore, the I that right now perceives this body, perceives this perception, is happiness. In fact, that which perceives the body right now, which perceives this perception right now, we all know that as I. Not I, John, or I, Magdi, or I, blah, 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 just I, just the I, whatever the word is, we say I. Call it whatever you want. Call it Yahweh, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. That which perceives the body, which is the same that which is going to kill the body, is happiness. So I already is happiness. So I don't need to do anything to be I am already happiness. So the argument that the ultimate happiness is to kill the body is invalid argument. It's illogical. When you examine this premise, you will find that it is illogical because the I that is going to kill the body already is I here right now. That I is awareness. I is happiness. It is not causal. It is. It is not created. It is. You could say it is the creator. It is the conceiver, the creator, the perceiver. Yes. What other reality is there in your experience outside of I? And by I don't mean the I, the body that was born and it's going to croak in a few years. I'm not talking about that misnomer. Talking the I that is unborn, that is undeniable, the undeniable presence of being, the undeniable presence of awareness. What would deny awareness? What? What? So, coming back to your question, John, happiness is what I is. Happiness is what I is. I is happy. And it's not caused by killing the body or by birthing 20 other bodies.
Circumstance.
It doesn't depend on the weather.
Yeah.
If happiness depended on the weather, it would be a roller coaster, happiness. Happiness is not a roller coaster. We're talking about the inner intuition that we have of that which we truly are. You cannot prove it or demonstrate it, but you can be it knowingly upon your contemplation of truth. And upon the dissolution of ignorance, without knowing it by contemplating the self, by looking at these questions, the ignorance is slowly dissolving.
You know, you mentioned to me this, I use the sort of an argumentative way with him, I guess, with the idea. It was the deep state thing, also. I had a class here and I said, this disappeared. Are you unhappy or you remain the same, But, of course, he said, and I guess this is the attachment that is often talked about in non-duality, this Catholic Buddhism attachment. But there's the idea that he'll miss these things, he'll miss the beauty or the happiness here in this life. So
Upon awakening,
yeah.
Upon awakening to the
awakening, well, yeah.
No, in fact, the awakened mind is like the windshield, like the windshield without the fog.
Yeah.
It's the opposite. There is clarity. There is celebration and enjoyment of the dream. The dream goes on, but without the thorn of mortality, without the identification of the limited self, without the concern about yesterday, the regrets about yesterday and the concerns about tomorrow, which are party poopers. They spoil the party. So no, it's once the false is removed, the true remains. The true is revealed. The truth is revealed. By the removal of the false, you don't remove happiness. You're removing unhappiness. You're removing all the false beliefs. No belief can make you happy because no belief is true. You cannot find happiness in any belief.
It's almost just, well, I guess one can do that is to continue, can ask questions, and in doing so, if you come to the reality, then one will see that. But it's not necessarily to come to the reality, but you see the real reality, and you see, as you started out with, all the things that are moving or that are appearing or passing. And presence.
John, there are questions that are beating around the bush, and there are questions that are going to. There is an interest in truth. I have a feeling that
being around the bush.
There are some questions that are like, they're not interested really. They just want to maintain an argument.
It's true you said that, because I told him one time before that, he brought up something else, and I said, why are we always going in some other baseball fields and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
I said, do you not want to? I mean, you don't have to talk about this, or you just, why are we going? And his bigger thing is the idea of death. I think that bothers him, scares him. So that's why he asked it. So he wants something as the person. And this is not about him, I'm asking the question. So he did ask that. So for me, it's more about, is when something rattles me on that intellectual level, in a sense, or my own experience, then it's good for me to bring it up as well. But yes, you're right.
Okay.
He gets upset if I
Buy him a lollipop.
let him know he's going off into some other tangent somewhere. But I also know from these sharings here that, and many others, that, and in my own experience, is that that's what my thoughts will do, is because somewhere along the line there is a fear of losing the self of thought, the thought-based self.
Well, if you're interested in protecting your fear, that's your business.
Yeah.
We love to baby our fears, okay? So you cover it in nice blankets and put it to bed, then I'll wake you up tomorrow morning, right? Any questions? Holly?
So in broader society, there's a lot of fields and areas where we're underrepresented. Over the years, those things have shifted. It seems the primary causes have to do with women historically have less time to pursue interests outside the family, these sorts of things.
Mm-hmm.
So with a lot of different teachings and Advaita, also there does seem to be an underrepresentation of women who are teaching, or I don't really know what else to say, because I haven't done a survey of how many are out there.
Mm-hmm.
Is it just something along those lines that things, or what's up there?
So you think I'm a man?
But I think so.
Okay, just kidding.
I see your point.
Just
I see
kidding.
that.
There are a lot of people who just choose not to teach, you see. It could be, I don't know, it's just this thought just arising that in a society where it's male-driven or something of the sort, that you may find that it's more conducive to the male body minds to be in those roles, but in fact, there are many people who choose not to teach. You know, who have to. I worked for many years with Tony Packer, and she was quite a guide in Springwater in New York. I also was quite drawn to Joko Beck, who I think she was in Zen tradition, then sort of was more modern Zen teacher. Although I didn't work closely with her, I was drawn to her message and to her. Consciousness does not discriminate, doesn't perceive. Whatever is happening in your life on the phenomenal level is not an accident. It's perfect design. And once you encounter the truth and you start to contemplate the truth, you very quickly go beyond the identifications. The contemplation takes you closer and closer to the transparent light, to the white light, as opposed to the different shades of colors. It takes you that direction. So where you find your true genderless gender, let's say that. I don't know too much about that question. Besides just what I shared. I'm sure there are societal factors, but I would say that if you are called to the truth and you resonates within you, just go for it. But without distractions as best you can. We start at 3:00, right? 3:00. Oh, so if there are people online who would like to pose any questions, as well as people here, so for the sake of time, you're welcome to pose your questions. Same here if there are any questions. Okay, I have a question that I received from Susan. I'm going to take this opportunity to read it. Hello, Magdi. I keep struggling with the same dynamic and I'm not able to transcend. Basically, there is someone in my family who keeps overstepping and breaching what I feel is fair or unacceptable or acceptable. I am not able to remain unaffected, and I get deeply triggered every time that this person is involved. I've asked myself, why is this happening again and again into my space in ways I find violating? What do you recommend? You know, we each have our vasanas. They're specific to each body-mind. And there are own personal opportunities, you could say challenges, but also opportunities to free ourselves. So above all, you need to understand that God is not trying to punish you using that religious way of speaking. It's an opportunity given to you. Then that's how it's designed in somebody in your family, being a trigger for you to come to the transparency of your true nature, what you truly are. You know, there's a saying that love is the greatest healer or something like that. Love is the power of love. So until this starts to thin out, until this vasana becomes less and less powerful in your life, consider the other person to be your brother or sister. Invite them in the loving space in your heart, to love them, to embrace them, to have, you don't know their toils and their travails and their hardships and their challenges. We don't know, we really don't know. Because we're unavailable to others in certain ways, and often we don't share some of our internal turmoils. To have compassion and to have empathy and to love the other and embrace them sort of in a conscious way, in an active way, sort of deciding that I'm going to go against the current of being violated by this person, and to invite yourself to love them, to contemplate that it's only one consciousness, one reality, one truth. It's only one actor, consciousness, that's wearing different costumes. And it makes no sense for you to love the costume more than to love the person. I know that's what we do in our life. That's why we have all these uniforms, we love the uniform. And the person inside the uniform, we don't care. If the uniform is nice, we love them. If the uniform is tattered clothes or dirty clothes, we don't love them. Don't be so distracted by the outfit. Go to the heart. Go to the reality of who this person is, which is consciousness. There's no separate reality. There is no personal reality. Truth is universal. If you are a truth lover, then you have to live your understanding. The understanding that all is consciousness. That I is universal self. And to notice within your body mind the contractions. Because when you don't notice them, they're operating in the shadow, and they get in the way of your openness. But once you notice those contractions within your body, and you sink deeply within them, you may find a less charged place of relating. Often we avoid going there, and in avoiding, it is maintained. And it gathers strength in your avoidance, because your avoidance also feeds that vasana. So you have to sort of go towards it, not away from it. It's okay to sense it and to allow it to be. As best as possible, get closer to it. Because one of the ways in which we stay away from the contraction is by labeling it, labeling the sensation, labeling the other, labeling ourselves, good, bad, and that's that sensation. We name it, we label it, which is thinking about it, which is not diving into the unknown. Because before labeling it, it is formless. And the label also gives it form and makes it more and more concrete, makes it more and more seemingly real. You have to also be aware that whatever you're protecting an illusion. Because truth needs no protection. Right? So, and if you are a truth lover, then you would not be in the protecting business. And we have these ideas about ourselves and about others. And that's a form of protection. We're protecting the illusory self with our ideas about ourselves and about others. And my turf, and your turf, and his turf, and her turf, and all these complexities that interfere with the happiness in our life. And we have a tendency to repeat the old, like we're stuck in the mud, repeating. Consciousness is ever freshness. It comes from not knowing, from pure presence. So invite this not knowingness into the space of awareness. Invite yourself to that. Allow yourself to be vulnerable so that you come to the understanding of your true invulnerability. Good luck with that. Any questions?
I've been feeling really tired this past 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And I get really involved in the why and how and I'm conscious that I'm doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But and I know what I need to do is just accept what is. But it keeps coming back to why.
Mm-hmm.
And you know a little bit about my Vipassana, like going back to getting world.
Mm-hmm. Well, in general, if you are tired, the best thing to do is see if it's possible for you to rest. Okay, so that's good. And worrying about feeling tired adds to the tiredness worry. And weariness is very tiring. It's exhausting, actually. So you sort of notice that that's what's happening. Noticing what's happening has a quality of presence, which is ever fresh moment by moment. It's not a story. Noticing is not a story. It's just noticing in this moment. The fresh noticing. And noticing doesn't have a judgment in it. It is not judging. It has no personal purpose, no personal objective. It's just the purity and the simplicity of noticing. That's what's happening. That there is sensations in the body-mind, which we refer to as tiredness, certain labeling. It's okay. And that there is worrying or interest knowing why. What's wrong? What's happening here? That's wrong. What do I need to be aware of? In a way, sometimes the scanning can reveal something to you that, okay, well, maybe I'm scheduling too much, maybe I'm scheduling too much within a packing my time too much, or maybe I am pushing my body too much. So there is a why, a question why that is sort of scanning the facts. And there is a why that is more of a psychological sort of a spin. Why am I tired? That has in it, oh my God, what's happening to me? And it has all sorts of stories about shouldn't be tired, blah blah. So it's okay to be scanning your activities, your life, or what's happening that may be contributing to you feeling tired. Or also scanning certain conditions within your body that may need some attending to, which is quite different from a something that repeats itself, if it's repeating itself, then I would be wary about. While if there is a question that arises, to a particular situation, a particular tiredness in that moment, and you scan it, there is intelligence in this sort of scan. But in it is something that's spinning itself over and over and over. I would be looking at my identification. What am I identifying myself with and or as? What images am I imagining? And what images am I imagining myself to be among all these images? And to contemplate what you truly are. Isn't the body mind, of course. This does not mean you do not cater and manage and take care of the body mind in a light-handed, reasonable way. That's in a way part of what's given to you. And how you manage what is given to you is what matters. We have a tendency to identify. My children, my house, my body, we get so identified. And then we make a me, it's my safety is assumed and felt, it's subliminal in a way, with what we define. And it goes below the radar. But then we're living those protections, and we're living this impression that's of intrusion, that something is happening to me, something is happening to my space, So defining ourselves is a diminution of what we are. Because what we are is not defined. And that's what's so beautiful about it. Because awareness, consciousness is freedom, is joy, is the bliss of the self. It's complete pure bliss. It is not something that is born and dies. It is not something that gets diminished or augmented. To recognize yourself as that. To recognize yourself when, but not now. Now is you recognize yourself moment by moment by inviting yourself to look and question and wonder. Because behind the scene, there is somebody you're trying to protect. And that somebody you're trying to protect, you've been doing it for years and years, maybe lifetimes. And that's all unhappy because you're in the crouched protective position, or you're in the protecting business, which means worrying, which means thinking about it at night. Oh, is it safe? It's like the story of that father who gave his fortune to his two sons. One of them buried it, and was all the time worried. I know maybe it's the wrong, so we dig another hole somewhere else and move it to another place. Maybe the neighbors found, and then he puts a stone on top of it. Oh my God, now they're gonna notice the stone. So that's gonna bring the attention. So he moves the stone. He tries to dig under the tree to make it. He lived a life of worrying and concern, while the other son took the money, went gambling, won at the roulette, whatever, bought a car, I don't know, before he was just living his life. He said the thing, parables, I used two men instead, it could be two daughters, right? I have to change the story next time. Say the two daughters, they had two daughters.
You say she forgot.
Huh?
You say she forgot a lot.
Yes, yes. I don't say God too much now because some folks felt that, oh, no, don't say but God. So, yes, so be Be watchful of the identifications, yes?
There's a question that's in the email.
Oh, I don't see it.
You don't see any of them?
No.
Okay, let me.
Yeah,
There's-
it seems there is a question on YouTube, but somehow, I don't know how, I don't see it. Yeah. Oh, Maria is praising your photography, Richard, you know. Yeah, I agree with you, Maria. Yes. Christine, who's you are Christine? Who's Christine? Any questions? Besides the one that's coming on YouTube.
Can you give me 1 second?
Yes, Ricky.
Because
Want me to
you
come
can't
over?
see it. No, but let me try to tell
Yes.
you. It's a whole thing
Oh.
happening on YouTube.
Okay.
Isn't it?
For some reason, they say chat is disabled for this live stream.
So
Yes.
Wonderland is saying, first of all, that person's from Egypt, they're Egyptian, and they're asking, isn't ego the same as Brahman? That's the first.
Is ego the same as Brahman? Well, let me put it this way. And I'm not sure that if it's going to be addressing your question, but it's going to go to the heart of my teaching or my sharing. Unhappiness is not the same as happiness. Misery, worry, and concern, living in time and space with the concern about past and future, living under the impression of mortality, which I refer to as unhappiness, is not the same as happiness. You see, I am not much of a Advaita theoretician. First there's Brahman and then there is manifestation. I'm cut right to the core of it. Unhappiness is not the same as happiness. So, if in your question, ego refers to happiness and Brahman refers to happiness, then ego is Brahman and Brahman is ego. But if in your question by ego you are meaning, you refer to me and my life and my future and my money and my past and my blah blah blah, yeah? My retirement, my sagging chin, my hair whitening, and if by ego you refer to the impression of personal self and being identified as a person, that is unhappiness. And unhappiness is not the same as Brahman being the bliss of the self. Now, having said that, I will add that there is only one reality. There is only one truth. When you are sleeping at night and you're having night dreams, you dream that you are a butterfly flying from flower to flower to flower. It's a very sweet dream. And the dream of the butterfly and you, the dreamer, are one. And it's a happy dream. And when you are sleeping at night and you are a 10-year-old boy and you're being chased by a lion and you're running as hard as you can to get to the tree because the lion is hungry and is going to bite you and have a nice meal out of you, and your heart is pounding and you're sweating bullets, that is unhappy. It is an unhappy dream. And yes, the dream, the unhappy dream, and the dreamer are not separate. Like the happy dream before of butterfly and the dreamer were not separate. Similarly, the unhappy dream of being chased by a lion and the dreamer that is dreaming this dream are not two, they're one. Your dreams are not separate from you. So yes, the unhappy dream is not separate from the dreamer, and the happy dream is not separate from the dreamer. My question to you is, how does it help you to know that the unhappy dream as well as the happy dream are not separate from the dreamer? How does it help you in becoming happy? Because it is about happiness. At least that's what I'm talking about. Other teachers may be speaking about something else, I don't know. It is about happiness. I prefer the happy dream. And in speaking, I'm speaking about a happy dream. Okay, Tara just brought me a couple of notes. She's clarifying that by self, small self and big self are equal. So she basically is pointing to me, small self equal big self. Well, does small self equal big self? By small self, I don't know how other people refer to it, but I'm very specific. I refer to the personal self. Personal self, I use the small s, and awareness, presence, knowing yourself, being knowingly consciousness. I refer to that as capital self. And yes, there's only one reality. Small self and big self are the same. But again, I go back to my previous comment that how helpful is it for you to know that small self and big self are the same? Does it relieve you from your unhappiness? Does it free you from the sense of limitation? I don't think so, but who am I to know? I don't know your experience. I can only share with you that just to know that small self, you need a personal self, and truth, reality, are one and the same is not sufficient. That you actually need to go way beyond that to contemplate, look deeply into the reality of the personal self and come to realize that in fact there is no independent reality outside of the reality of awareness consciousness. Only this sort of contemplation will free you. Okay, more papers are coming at me. I'm sorry I don't have, for some reason the chat is disabled on the YouTube. I'm not sure why. Okay, a couple of notes came to me. True nature versus ego. If truth of reality is one and non-dual, there is no distinction between illusion and truth. In my book, there is a big, big distinction between illusion and truth. I don't believe in Santa Claus anymore. I used to, as well as the tooth fairy. But I don't believe in them anymore. I know myself. To be this transparent, aware presence, and this knowingness does not come and go. Until happiness is established in your life via knowing yourself as that which is unborn and unchanging. The academic argument that there is no distinction between illusion and truth will not bring you any fulfillment. If illusion and truth are the same, that means that truth is illusory. And that doesn't make sense to me. So when you go to the amusement park, is it the amusement park? And the magician cuts the lady again in two. Now I am very, now we've got a thing going on, Holly. Cuts the lady, cuts the man in two, thank you, Richard, cuts the man in two. The lady that, Emma, thank you. The lady magician cuts the man in two, okay? That is illusion. It's a play of mirror, and it's not the same as the truth, which is that, in fact, the man that the lady magician is cutting is perfectly nice and safe. He's not being cut at all. So in my book, illusion and truth are not the same. When you are dreaming that you are a pink flying elephant, when you wake up in the morning, are you a pink flying elephant? What is the pink flying elephant when you wake up? I know it's just a metaphor, the metaphor of the night dream, but it applies to the awakening from ignorance. Once you awaken from ignorance, you no longer mistake yourself to be a mortal body. You recognize all body-mind impressions to be appearances, to be arisings, and you know yourself without any break, without any interruption, as the aware presence. And it's a silent knowingness that I'm speaking in words, but in fact it is a silent knowingness, which is best described as a causeless piece of being. Okay, next sticker that came to me. I think it's not a choice. The dreamer dreams whatever he wants. Yes, the dreamer, depending what you mean by the dreamer, but we'll clarify that. But yes, the dreamer dreams whatever he wants. The dreamer being consciousness, the dreamer being the reality of the self, not the dreamt character. The dreamt character is not dreaming, is being dreamt. The me and my life and all these change, all these appearances are being dreamt by the dreamer who dreams all dreams, who is in the complete freedom of the self. There is only one reality, and reality and freedom and truth are one and the same. So yes, there is no personal choice, but there is infinite choice to the real chooser, which is I as presence, consciousness, awareness. It is important to, when you're speaking about choice, to be clear to whom does the choice refer to. Santa Claus does not choose what day to distribute the Christmas gifts. The dream character does not choose their thoughts, their perceptions, and their sensations. There is only one chooser, there's only one puppeteer, and the one puppeteer is choreographing the actions and the behaviors of all the different puppets question, isn't happiness seeking just ego desire? Isn't happiness seeking just ego desire? Happiness does not seek. Happiness is not in the seeking business, otherwise it would be incomplete. The happiness that is seeking something is, it must be lacking something. And if happiness is lacking something, I wouldn't call it happiness. So happiness is what you truly are before the download of being somebody who is lacking more money, who is lacking more love, who is lacking more fame, who is being bothered by the neighbor, who is being bothered by your old boyfriend, whatever. Before this download, before the dream character identification, you are that which is unmanifest, unborn, which is in this very moment the reality that perceives this perception. You perceive the thoughts that arise to you. You're not defined by the thoughts that arise to you. You are the conceiver and the creator of the thoughts and the perceiver of the thoughts. And I don't mean you, the body mind. I mean you, the reality that perceives right now, which we refer to as presence consciousness. Okay, well, I think we came to the end of those little stickers. Thank you all, very lovely. I don't know what happened to the YouTube channel. Okay, Esther, Isaac, Maria, Wesdy, and Zoe, lovely to be with you. See you soon.
Thank you, Magdi.